Okay, what is this? You gotta be asking yourself, right? Why is this giant trash bin flying in the air? Well, this is SpaceX, and this is the Starship prototype, I guess you would call it. And this is their second test where they launched this giant cylinder. It's a stainless steel cylinder, I think 150 feet or something up in the air. And basically, it's this is this is not the rocket. This is the spaceship. So they're planning on sending a spaceship to Mars at some point, and this is kind of the prototype of the spaceship. And so, so it looks weird, but it's I here at the bottom here. That's the I think that's the top part where like the crew sits in there. Um, but yeah, it's supposed to take people to Mars, land on Mars, and then I don't know, potentially take off and come back home. Um, I don't know if that's going to happen in my lifetime, but I hope so. That's pretty cool. But it's just kind of neat to see this giant thing. This thing is huge. I mean, look at this. Look at this crane here, right? I don't know if I can when it lands. I mean, look. This is a crane. This thing is massive, and that's not the rocket, right? So there's going to have to be an even larger rocket that lifts this thing up into space. So I don't know. I follow. That's something I do. I follow SpaceX whenever they launch things up into space. They launch the satellites, that supposed to be providing internet service up into space. That's supposedly like wreaking havoc for astronomers, but they are kind of going to blanket the Earth with these low orbiting satellites and provide high speed data access to places that you can't run wires to. So this is just another one of their projects. This is called the Starship, and yeah, it's pretty awesome. So yeah, I don't know if you guys are following that, but I think that's pretty cool. Kind of geek out watching it. I love watching the boosters fall back to Earth and then land on the launch pad, like right in the middle. I can't even get my drone to do that, to have it fly back and land itself in the middle of the circle. Usually it's like completely off, the area that I launched it from. But their SpaceX rockets land right in the middle, and they've been doing that, a bunch of times. It's pretty much a guarantee. The other amazing thing is they actually landed on a boat. The boat is it's a drone boat. It's not. There's no person on the boat. The boat just drives out there to where I guess the booster's gonna land, and then it lands on the boat. This kind of, it's not a boat. It's like a floating platform, but they call it the drone ship. Of course, I still love you. That's the name of the drone ship. Of course, I still love you. So anyway, that's pretty interesting, right? Anyway, that's something positive and kind of gives me something to look forward to during this time. What kind of all. It's hard. It's easy to get tunnel vision into what's happening right now with COVID and with some of the other issues that's going on, election year and everything. But there's things that are far, far ahead that can change the course of human history, and those things are being done. They're being tested and prototyped today, and that's one of the things. So I find that kind of cool. And of course, it reminds me of Iron Man too. If you ever watch the booster land, it looks kind of like, it doesn't look real. It looks like CG, but it is real. It's the smartest people in the country actually creating something that works reliably. That's pretty cool. So anyway, just an update. So we have 4 new fatalities, 211 new cases today, 190 on Oahu, 17 on the Big Island, and 4 on Maui. One thing that I find kind of strange is so on Tuesday and today there was a surge testing at the H3, right? From what I've heard, that number is kept separate than the regular tests that are done in Hawaii, and I don't know if that's true or not. That's what I've been told. But even like the lieutenant governor, like he's saying it's unclear how many of those tests were part of the so-called surge testing on Oahu. So again, like there's still a lot of confusion as far as the information that's being put out as to what the count is. If the number is not part of, these 6,000 cases, because they have a number, we just don't know if that number is included in the count, like this 221 new cases, positive cases. There's 92 in the surge cases. So, right, if the 92 is not part of that number, then you're looking at over 300. So I don't know what to make of that. I'm pretty sure somebody's going to ask at some point, but they're saying so far out of the 15,000, 92 are positive. That's less than 1%, and that makes sense, right? Nationally, we see that it's less than 1% when there's a lot of tests being done. In the past, you could only get the test done if you had met certain qualifications, which means chances are you do have the test, you do have the virus, right? And so the positivity rate is higher. But now that we're just blanket testing everybody, then the positive number goes down. So that makes sense. But the confusion now is at what number is that number included in the regular state report, or is that just a completely separate batch of tests that are being tracked separately? We don't know. So what's also interesting is 6,000 cases still remain active, right? More than 573 people have required hospitalization, and let's see, I don't know what the total number of deaths is. There a total number of deaths here? 79 is the total number of deaths. So that number is going to continue to climb up. Yeah, I don't know what this out of state thing is. Like, if it's out of state, like, why are we counting it? I don't know what that means. So anyway, that's the state of the virus in Hawaii. We talked about the contact tracing person, right? Dr. What was her name? Robertson, right? She's requesting an indefinite leave because she feels like she can't do her contact tracing job, right? And a lot of people were pointing fingers at Dr. Park. And then today we get the news that she's taking leave from the health department. So there's just a lot of things going on at the health department, and I don't know. This deputy director, I mean, her plate is going to be so full. I mean, she's got to take on everything that Dr. Park was doing, and then she's also taking over the contact tracing too. So, yeah, I mean, what is going on down there, right, at the Department of Health? They play such an important role. Hang on, I'm getting some audio issues here. All right, anyway. Yeah, so we don't know what's going on down at the Department of Health, and that's kind of concerning. And it doesn't say how long she's planning on leaving. So here's the change, right? So the director, Bruce Anderson, he's like the main guy, right? The head guy. He's retiring. And then Emily Robertson, she just got hired. She was there for like less than a month. So she's requesting to take leave until she feels like she can do her job. And then Dr. Park is taking a leave. So I mean, are these people being pushed out, or are they being forced to take a leave? I don't know. I don't know what's going on there, but it's very suspicious. It's very concerning. And then, like, who's gonna fill, those positions? I mean, we're in the middle of a health emergency, right? So it's just, and these are like the top people that we've had in those positions for years, right? For years they've been there. So it calls into question, like, what were they doing? And were they fit to have those positions? And they might have been, I don't know. But apparently now, like in this type of an emergency, and I would think people, if you're a health professional, and we see this with first responders and stuff, they kind of step up, right? They want to they want to do their part. They want to protect the community. They want to help people, and they step up. Well, these people are all stepping down, so that's, I don't know. That's just kind of concerning, and like, how is contact tracing going to be affected? How is policy going to be affected? Like, without these people here, who's going to advise the governor? Is the governor listening to them? Like, are their hands tied in this situation? I don't know. It's like, when you see people leave, and I've seen that, in previous jobs that I've had, you can kind of see like where things are going when the top people start to leave or be forced out. There's something not good happening with the company, with the organization. So, yeah. This is the state health website, and it's so bad. I try to go here to get the latest information and stuff, but it's just like just these. There's no breakdowns, so I end up having to go find other sources to get the breakdown of the like what's happening with the counts and everything. I was looking for the surge data and I just couldn't find it. I don't even know where the media got the surge data from. I don't even know where to find the surge data. So anyway, so Big Island is also getting hit pretty hard, right? They're on beach lockdown, man. That's like just like Oahu. And I think they were really concerned about Honolulu, about Oahu, and not wanting to be like us. But the Big Island is getting hit pretty hard. They're having a bunch of clusters. Their numbers are extremely low, but again, it's that kind of upward trend, and all it takes is a certain number, and I don't know what that number is, but once you hit a certain number, it just starts to just explode, and that's what happened on Oahu, right? So I think the Big Island is kind of seeing that happen, and they're trying to figure out like what to do. So they're doing the lockdowns, and that's going to affect a lot of small businesses there as well. So, yeah. And so for some weird news, this was kind of hilarious. I just stumbled across this story. So there's this professor, and I had a friend that went to George Washington University. This is on the East Coast. This is a professor at George Washington University, Jessica Krug, and what caught me was this headline, and I thought it was like clickbait. Professor Jessica Krug admits she lied about being black. Okay, that's weird, right? It's horrible. But then there's a quote here that says, "I cancel myself," and that just grabbed me at that point. I just got sucked in when I saw that. I cancel myself. Okay, so who is she telling that to? Well, apparently, she put it up on the internet. I guess. Well, according to let's go through the article. It's pretty funny, and disturbing at the same time. So she's a Jewish white person apparently, and I don't understand how she was passing herself off as a black woman, but apparently she was doing that. Publicly living as a black woman for years at. George Washington University associate professor. She admitted that she is a culture leech. I don't know what that is. Who is white. So I don't know, like when you apply for to be a professor at a university, like lying on your application, or I don't know if there is an application where you have to specify what your ethnicity is or whatever. Or if she got any kind of special treatment. I mean, there was that whole big thing with, shoot, what was her name? The senator. She ran for president. I can't remember what her name is. She claimed that she was Native American, right? She even took a DNA test, and then it came back like inconclusive because it was such a small number. Like everybody has that amount of whatever gene that it's not even a gene. I did some research on the whole DNA testing. The way DNA testing works is it doesn't tell you anything. Everything is inferred, right? So what they do is they take your DNA, they analyze it, and then they compare it with everybody else. And if you have some similarities, then they just assume, right, that you are you have the same characteristics as these other people. So it's not like they can look and say, and oh, you have this gene that says you're white or black or Native American or whatever. So anyway, that's kind of beside the point. But anyway, like this person is actually coming out and admitting that she is white, right? She's quoting in this post, for better part of my adult life, every move I've made, every relationship I've formed has been rooted in the napalm toxic soil of lies. Wow. And I think she has a problem. I think she's starting to understand that she has a problem. And I think her world is kind of starting to fall apart because a little bit further down in the article, the reason why she came out, it says here, a former friend, I'm pretty sure a lot of her friends are former friends now, a former friend of Krug's and another professor charged that Krug only came forward because she had been found out and had started being confronted by others in her field. So I think her world is starting to kind of fall apart because of all the lies, right? It's kind of the house of cards thing. But she's very honest about it, which is kind of strange. Well, I don't know if it's strange. It's admirable that she's being honest about it. I mean, this is a quote, right? I am a coward, she writes, and then repeats it. You should absolutely cancel me, and I absolutely cancel myself. So that is pretty funny. So she does. I mean, you guys can read this article. It's like really kind of weird. Like, it's weird, right? And these people, and she's a professor. She's a associate professor at George Washington University. Yeah, I don't know what to think of that. Other than that's kind of a funny story. Funny in how disturbing it is. Because she's it doesn't say like how long she's been a professor and how many students she's had contact with. But the fact that she kind of rose up to that position of influence, and she was kind of living this lie, basically pretending she was something she's not. And I mean, inside the article too, she also admits like it's not like she has this alternate personality. That was her life. Like she didn't live like a double life. She didn't live like, oh, I'm a white person, and then when I'm out and about, I'm a black person. Her whole life was living as a black person or whatever, right? Because I don't think it was just living as a black person that she was, like she was lying to people. So a lot of her friends, I would think, would have trouble like believing any story that she might have told them. And I mean, it's just weird. Like if you found out like the person that you were good friends with, wasn't, and was like not even close, right? Like if you had a friend and you thought, and they told you that they were black, and your whole perception of them was that they were black, they were part of the black community, they were doing fighting for black causes and stuff, and then you found out that they weren't even black at all. That would call into question a lot of things, I would think. So yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. Yeah. Anyway, uh, one of the things I kind of wanted to talk about today. Let me get rid of this thing. Um, It's called boardgamearena.com, and I didn't realize that this was a thing. But apparently you can play board games like with people. So I play video games with other people, but I didn't realize like you can actually play board games with other people online. Right? Like this Sushi Go game looks pretty cool. And it's a board game. You know, it's not a video game, but you can play it online with other people. So I think this one is kind of like a card game, and you can play between 2 and 5 people. Right? They have a video kind of explaining how to play the game.
Sushi Go is a 15-minute game for 2 to 5 players in which you try to snag the best dishes at a sushi restaurant. Pick the right combination of cards and block your opponent's moves to win the game. Try not to get too hungry as you play this easy-to-play draft and pass game. Sushi Go consists of 3 rounds. In each round, players are dealt a number of cards. On a turn, everyone picks a card to play and simultaneously reveals them. Pass your hand to the player on your left and start the next turn with your new hand. The round ends when you play the last card in your hand. At the end of each of the 3 rounds, players add up their points. Each card is scored differently and have cheat notes written on them to help you remember. Nigiri are worth points equal to the number on the card.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool. And then they also have like you can download the rule book, but then this is what the game looks like. And what's pretty neat too is you can actually watch if you're just you don't know if you want to play it. You can actually watch other people playing the game, and that's pretty interesting. So you can kind of see like how if you and your friends wanted to play this, what it would be like for you guys to play, right? So I don't, there's these are 2 people, Jonesy and potato, tomato, or whatever. So they're playing against each other. So I might try to get my friends to jump on here and play some of this. There's some complicated games, like I don't know if you guys ever played Settlers of Catan. That one you need like 12 hours to play. So that's a kind of complicated game. But they have in the description of the game, they kind of give you an idea of like how long the games will take. And the good thing about the game being converted to like a digital format is like a lot of these games with scorekeeping, you don't need to keep score, right? The program keeps the score. So I just thought that was kind of cool. I know a lot of people are looking at ways to how to socialize, and me and my friends actually used to do board game nights. We used to do like chess night, or we used to do other types of board games. And I know a lot of people are still into playing board games or these card games. What's that card game? The one with the kittens, exploding kittens. That's pretty fun. Cards Against Humanity. That's another one. And they have similar games to that. And I think I'm frozen. There you go. Yeah, so they have like casual games. They have more, elaborate games. Here are games by complexity. You can sort it. like hardcore gamers, they have more complicated type games. Like complexity is 4 out of 5. So, like this one's like super complicated. It's a 3-part tutorial. So that's another way to that you can tell how complicated the game is. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that you can do. I kind of see these type of activities being more commonplace in the future. Back in the day, like what me and my friends did, like social wise was, we'd be part of like a bowling league, a dart league, pool league, go out to the bars, and that was kind of our social life. I think those activities now are going to be virtual, and there's going to be a lot more of these type of sites popping up that allow you to, do some recreational type activities with other people. And then the great thing is, the people could be anywhere. It could be, not necessarily in Hawaii. They could be, the mainland or in other countries. So it's kind of exciting. And again, like for me, I'm not a big fan of keeping score when I'm playing games. So the computer takes care of all of that. So that's kind of cool. So that's another thing you guys might want to check out. And I think that's gonna cover it for today. Everybody be safe and have a good night.